Okay, so this is the automatic writing for Wednesday, February 7th, even though I'm recording this in the evening of the 6th. I must have the 26th. My brain, my poor brain. I am sitting in my house. Dinner is eaten. It's like 9:15 in the evening. I'm contemplating my life. I'm working at the hospital tomorrow and Thursday, and then on Friday I'm working for Kim Beam. So if you need something from me, Friday's your day. I may have to run down to HUP for the volunteering that I'm doing down there, if that comes to something. I was down there last week, I think, meeting with people, but I sent them the things and I haven't heard back. So we'll see what's going on. I'll keep you posted on whether or not I'm going to be volunteering at HUP. And then today in the hospital, I had a moment where a doctor who, a different doctor than the doctor I talked about yesterday, a doctor came out of a room, and this is not a doctor who gets rattled. This is not a doctor who gets shaken or is at all. He's just sort of consistent in his staid. He just doesn't get rattled. He just doesn't. He was rattled. He was like, that person is so anxious, I'm feeling their anxiety. And this doctor allowed me to take some of the energy off. And he allowed me to give him some Reiki in the middle of the hallway. First he was like, what are you doing? Oh yeah, I have back pain there. And then he goes, wait, what? And he's like, I actually do feel a little better. He's like, okay, I'm good. He's like, I'm good. And I was like, okay. But yeah, it was I was kind of excited that he like let me be me and share a little of what I do with him. And he let me give me a little, let me give him a little Reiki in the middle of the hallway and the rarely opened floor that's like sometimes open but sometimes not, where I was stationed for today. So that was really cool. I think that might have been the high today. The low today. Oh, I had a really stressful moment where the meditation app Zen for Teens needed some attention, and I got totally overwhelmed, and I had to breathe through it, and I was really stressed out about that. It happened while I was on the step down unit, and I was really stressed. But I figured it out. We got it figured out. I figured it out. I'll figure it out. But there was definitely a moment where I was like, I should not have developed an app. And there was another moment where I was like, once I figure it out, I'll feel really good about myself. So, I don't see this like I want to. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to hop in and do the automatic writing thing that I've given you a little blurb. 3 minutes of blurb. I really need to cut down on this blurb. Maybe I should just stop giving you a blurb on the update of my life. Okay, so it's 3 minutes and 24 seconds, and we're going to hop into what do we need to know today. All right. Sure. Peace. We think peace is what's called for. There is so much noise and so much clamoring for your attention that you are losing sight of purpose, focus, and what gifts each of you is bringing to the world. There is the pull into the addiction of smartphones. There is the pull of addiction to sweets and noise and distraction and looking for comfort in areas that don't actually solve the problems. Silencing your concerns does not solve your emotional states. Tamping down your emotional states only houses them in the body and does not officially move them out. So this makes me think of like, who's the guy that said years ago when I was in the church, there was a famous guy who said, you worship something. Everybody's always worshiping something. The question is, what are you worshiping? Job, status, success, music, musicians, famous people. Who is it that you're worshiping? What is it that you worship? A deity. Your version of God, right? The body keeps the score. The body knows the trauma and the fear and the concerns. Move the emotions out. Unstick your... No, I don't want... Do I want unstick? What word do I want? Okay, I want unstick. Unstick yourselves from the patterns you've been clinging to for so long. Sorry. What do we need to know today? Okay. We think peace is what's called for. There is so much noise and so much clamoring for your attention that you are losing sight of purpose, focus, and what gifts each of you is bringing to the world. There is pull into the addiction of smartphones. There is the pull of addiction to sweets and noise and distraction and looking for comfort in areas that don't actually solve the problems. Silencing your concerns does not solve your emotional states. Tamping down your emotional states only houses them in the body and does not officially move them out. The body keeps the score. The body knows the trauma and the fear and concerns. Move emotions out. Unstick yourselves from the patterns you've been clinging to for so long. Starting to feel will be a challenge in that emotions now felt will feel powerful. But the truth is, feeling them will allow you to be whole and show up wholeheartedly. If you aren't feeling sadness or anger or frustration, you are also not feeling joy and gladness and appreciation and gratitude. Yes. Emotions are a part of the human experience, and why you came to Earth at this time, to feel and be felt, to have joy and tears, to weep and know the passions of life. I feel like I can make that a little bigger. Just give me 2 seconds while I fiddle with this. I've been fiddling with this. Okay. It's a little better. It's a little better. Okay. We're at 11 minutes. I didn't want to be at 11 minutes. I've been wanting to get this down in time. But those of you who are hungry for source and spirit will find this, right? You'll find this. I don't know how, but you will. And if you found it, you found it, right? And if you're here, you're here. Anything else we need to know today for Wednesday, February 7th? Oh, the day you find it is the day you're supposed to find it, right? The day you're watching this is the day you're supposed to watch it. It probably isn't very exciting just to watch me sit and like meditate and connect with spirit, but that's what this is about, right? Like, okay. So I found this practice when I was in the church, actually. John Paul Jackson was a prophet in New Hampshire. He lived in New Hampshire. And he did a number of teachings. And I actually went to the church he went to, but he wasn't there the day I went there. The guy I was seeing at the time really wanted me to bump into him. And I really wish I had, not knowing what I had missed out on. So he had a practice on basically this, on how to do this. And it was like a 4-course, like 4 CD course on how to know and trust that what you're getting in this is the way to go. I found it like in 2007, maybe 2000, maybe it was later than that, maybe it was 2008 or 2009. I found this practice of how to like write and tap into spirit and then hear what spirit had to say back. And so I've been doing this, gosh, for like 15 years. What you're watching is somebody who's been doing this for 15 years. But when I left the church, I felt like I couldn't talk to spirit anymore because I left the church. And so I wasn't going to disrespect the Holy Spirit. I had too much respect for the Holy Spirit that when I left the church, I wasn't going to just, willy-nilly listen to some parts of the Godhead and not listen to other parts of the Godhead. And I have since learned that, it's all bigger than we think it is. And spirit is more loving and kind and gentle than we even have knowledge of. So, this is me tapping in. This practice is for everyone. And anyone who wants to hear can learn how to be here, learn how to hear. This is for everybody. So, Feelings are important, and they're, as Esther and Jerry Hicks say, they're like an Abraham. They're your emotional guidance system. They let you know when you're heading in the right direction and when something is, in the right space to be able to bring in the stuff that you want to bring in. I'm always asking questions about release and allow. So we'll get there. This is an every night practice from here until I stop doing it, right? So I sat with them this morning. You can tell because they weren't yelling at me to sit with them this morning. It wasn't so easy what they had to say, and I'll leave that there. I'm not going to go anywhere further with that, but they definitely had things they wanted to say. To have joys and fears, and to weep and know the passions of life. I wish you all a whole human experience. And I'm sorry for the tears that are happening, and I'm sorry for the hurt that's happening. But God, am I excited about the joyful? Am I excited about the good? Am I excited about all that's possible? I hate the hurt. I really hate the hurt, but at the same point, the high of like being right where you're supposed to be and knowing you're in that sweet spot of right where you're supposed to be, God, that feels so good. So I wish you all of that. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow probably. Oops.